Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chess Diagnostics. So today I'm going to be covering basically upgrading your chess mistakes, which is kind of a funny title, but it's really true. Which is basically the whole point of chess training is to just upgrade the level of mistakes you're doing, because of course you're always going to make mistakes in a game, but it's just trying to weed out those really gross blunders. So I thought it would be a good idea to kind of do the rating levels, go up through the rating levels. So I just played this game against a 1200 on Lichess, and I'm trying to get an 800 player just to go that low and start up. But I'm gonna see here with this 1200. If I can get an 800, I will. But what I'm gonna do in this video is I'm gonna show this game first, and then I'm gonna go through try to get another game, play it live. All right, so let's see this game. This was again 1245. But let's see what he does in this game and where he starts to go wrong. And he did play well, trying to use all of his time. Basically, I think this was a 5 minute game actually. All right, so he plays e4, c5. We get the Sicilian. Now he's done good up to here, solid. There's really no improvements that could be made. I'm just trying to play a basic Sicilian, play e6 and maybe d5. All right. So this is the first mistake, really, is basically reacting to non-existent threats, which is a big problem, I would say, from 800 to up to 1500. Um, of course, players do that at all levels, but I'm trying to show the really big weaknesses as specifically the under 1500 level. But you see this all the time at this level. They'll make these pawn moves. Now, this really doesn't make any sense at all in this position, given that I played e6. My bishop's not even going to come to g4 at all. So really what this move does is just waste a tempo where it should be for piece development. Either bring the knight here, the bishop out, or even just play d4. All right, so just develop. Now I could do a lot of moves here. You could play, knight to f6 or anything's fine. But I don't really know any specific lines at this point. It's just trying to develop. All right, so I want to play knight to f6, but I don't want him to get that pawn in there, especially since he did play here. So, for example, if I played knight to f6, then he could play. Here, let me get this here. He could play there, and then I couldn't play knight to g4 and threaten it. All right, so I played there as a prophylaxis take, and now I can play f6, knight to f6. All right, so these have been good. He did play d4, which is a good move. Basically, the knight takes, and then he can get his bishop out. Now, I don't know necessarily about castling queenside here. It seems a bit risky, but it looks like that may be his plan. All right, so let's analyze this move real quick. Now, you don't want to just trade, especially a bishop for a knight, because generally bishops are stronger than knights, especially in open games, and especially when you have the bishop pair. So you see again, this mistake is very common. Players will just trade their bishops for knights, and they really don't know what to do, so they just take something. Well, specifically in this position, what he should be doing is continue development. So he could even play something like bishop here, or he could move his queen up, kind of a Richter Rouser setup, which prepares queenside castling as well. So that's an idea. Again, so the three main things in the opening is you want to develop your pieces, specifically the minor pieces. You want to castle, which normally involves moving your queen, uh, unless it's kingside, and then you want to connect your rooks. So you could say that's castling. So basically, those are the three main things that you should do to play any opening. It sounds quite simple, but really, if you follow it, you'll be able to play most openings without knowing any specific lines. All right, so he took, and now the problem with that as well is that now he just gives me the bishop pair, and this dark square bishop is already pressuring on b2, as well as this knight here is threatening to take it, and he has no way to defend it. So either he has to take or he has to move back, which basically means he's conceded the center at this point. Now, the center is very important because it gives you the most active pieces possible. And if you control the center, then you can really, first off, you have active you have the most active pieces if you control the center. And second off, you restrict your opponent's activity greatly. As you can see here, now his knight either has to trade. All right, so he took, and again, it just gives me the center because now he brought this b7 pawn to c6, and now I control all these squares, and I basically own the center and I own the dark squares. And my main idea at this point is really quickly just to, all right, let's before he goes there, is basically just to pressure b2, and I could even play something like d5. Now, I couldn't play queen to b6 right away because obviously this pawn would be undefended. But he helps me with this next move, which is bishop here. Now he could play something here, and I could hit it with a tempo, but he would have a check, so that doesn't work right away. So that would probably be better, or I would say bishop here, or bishop. Or, sorry, not there. Bishop here, or bishop here would be better than bringing the bishop here, which doesn't really do anything. All right, so then that does allow me to just immediately pressure here. Now, it's not the easiest threat to deal with. Basically, he should be playing something like uh, knight, and then I could check. So, for example, if he, let's go here. Um, oh, it's not the analysis board. Wait. So basically, he would have to go here, and then he could do something like check there. Um, and then I don't really have a way to attack it. I could just bring in the bishop and threaten that. Um, but it's not so clear how he should defend this pawn. All right, so he just decides to castle, which is not a good decision because now he's going to lose pawn and at least an exchange because he has to move this knight, which I would just take this rook, for example. If he just played here, then I would just take this rook, and then I'd basically be up in exchange. So that's winning as well. All right, so you can see from my end, I haven't done anything special at all. I'm basically just following simple principles, simple ideas here. All right, just trying to check this chat here. All right, if anybody's here, just leave a comment. If you have any questions while I'm going through this, then let me know in the comments. All right, so I'm going to keep going here. All right, takes. He basically gives away a piece, so he's somewhat sloppy tactically at this point. But you can see it really stemmed from the positional misunderstandings that he had earlier about what he should do in the opening. It's really not. It's somewhat of a knowledge problem, but really it's not applying simple principles. All right, so he plays there. He's trying to be active. Now this move looks a little Now this move looks a little sloppy because it's closing off my bishop, but I didn't want him to get something like e5 in and then get active. So I just did that, and the reason I played that was because I saw that I could play d5, and then I would basically control the center, and I could bring my bishop in. So it wasn't necessarily just closing my bishop off right away. So I play there. All right, I bring the queen back, threatening the pawn as well as protecting d5. And I thought he was going to play something like rook here. He takes. All right, then he makes a blunder. Now, when you take some material or you enter some complicated tactical position, you should ask. Really at every move, just do a quick blunder check. So if he took here and he asked if I could capture his queen, just a simple question, then I've already won it. All right, then basically the game's over at this point because I get two rooks to the queen and I'm up too much material. All right, so I just get another thing, and I think I could have checkmated him one move earlier, right there, but I missed that, and then I got it in the next move. All right, so let's pull up a live game. All right, play. Let's see how I do this. Create a game. I think I have to go to here. All right. Let's see if I can get an actual game. Yeah, I don't know why. I think with my rating, it's kind of hard to find a. It's not as simple here because they only give you a minus 500 rating, which I'd like to go lower. So well, maybe I'll put it up to 1500. All right. Let's see. Quick pairing. Yeah, Lichess is not very good for trying to find a. Oh, there was one. Is that? Oh no, that's atomic. Okay, let's try this guy. Ugh. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing here. Variant, casual, one game in play. Oh, sorry, guy. Here, let me quit that. Create a game. Okay. I'm just trying to do standard because I have to uncheck these. It should be casual. Hmm. Nobody. All right, maybe I'll try to go for. Maybe I'll get a low rated one if I join here. Hopefully, we'll see. All right, well, this isn't exactly what I want, but it'll work for now. I'm just trying to get one game. All right, 1781. Okay, so play e4, e5. All right, so he's already blocked. Uh, you see, even almost at 1800, why is he blocking there? I'll just develop. Okay, I'm going to play bishop to c4. I'm going to play d3 just to, well, I guess, no, I'll just castle anyway. Now, his probably main idea is to play here and then he could castle queenside, but I'm not sure. I guess it's not so bad. All right, what do I want to do here? I could play d3, uh, play bishop to g5. That seems reasonable. He's gonna have to move that bishop again at some point, I would think. Yeah, see, so basically he wasted a move. The good thing is he hasn't played d6 or d5 yet. Hmm. Now this is interesting. Now I could play something like knight takes. Knight takes here. But since he can bring the bishop back, it's still not so good. All right, let's see. What do I want to do? I think I'll play there. I just want to start an assault on his king side. Okay. So he's just creating some weaknesses. Looks like that's what he's doing. So again, the weaknesses are these pawns that he moved forward. Um, what do I want to do? Okay. Now I could take and then win a pawn. Um, but that's really not the best. I could start taking these pawns. It looks like I win two pawns if I take, and then he takes here, and then I take with check. That seems pretty good. Mm. Yeah, because actually, if I take here, then that kind of opens up the file for the F file. So I'm going to take here. All right, and then I'll take with check. I just got to be careful because this bishop is still pinning. So I want to. Okay, now I can hit his queen. All right, I might be able to win just some material, or at least I'll get rid of that bishop, which is a bit annoying. All right, keep his knight out. I got to move a little faster here. All right. All right. It looks like, yeah, I get that with. Okay. Let's see here. All right, now I could hit there, but I want to protect it first. Okay. All right. Getting pretty active, but I have to keep moving quick. Okay, let's see here. All right. All right. Okay. That's interesting. So I'm threatening checkmate. Um, we'll go through a little deeper analysis. I'm just in a little bit of time trouble here. So, yeah, so basically he takes. Yeah. Either way, I'm going to checkmate him. All right. Check. Oh, okay. He has one pawn move. Otherwise, he can't move. That's funny. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, sure. Dylan, sorry, I'm just seeing that comment. I was playing that. Yeah, challenge me now. I just completed the game. Let me finish the analysis of this real quick, because there was this is pretty educational game. All right, so he his main mistake was this development move, which should be pretty obvious. Bishop to c5 is better, or even bishop to e7 is better because he's going to have to move the bishop again because it blocks the pawn and the light square bishop. All right, so he started making these weakening moves. Now, these moves would be good if he had played, I don't know, even something like here and then brought his bishop out. But the problem with moving pawns when you haven't developed is that it creates a bunch of weaknesses. And now I just start attacking them. Now I don't know if this is totally sound, but it makes logical sense that if he's moving his pawn with a bunch of weaknesses, that it would work. All right, just give me 1 second here. He takes. All right, I won. And he trades queens. He probably should have kept queens on the board. Tried to put some resistance because at this point he's just. I mean, at this point he's completely lost. Yeah, it's just too many pawns. All right, and then I just get my rooks on the 7th rank. And too much material. All right, go ahead and challenge me. Where did that go? It looks like it disappeared. If you can challenge me again, we can play one. What's your rating, Dylan? Okay, there we go. All right, so e4. Oh, you're about okay, 1400. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect for this series. That's what I was looking for. All right. Okay. So it looks like we'll go for a e4 Sicilian, an open game. Let me stop this so you can see the whole board. If anything's messed up with the screen, let me know in the chat here. All right. So yeah. All right. Let's go. There's a little bit of an increment. Very standard so far. You're playing well. Just developing. Now, it is good to know some opening lines, especially if you're playing longer games. Of course, blitz games, you have to play fast. But if you play fast in the opening with lines you know, it does help a lot because you can apply your thought process later. But it is good to get in the habit, especially when you're under 1500, to always think through every move uh, during the whole game. All right, so a lot of moves here. I could play here, here, but I like to just bring the bishop in, reinforce the center. A lot of ideas. You could play g6. You could play a6. You could play e6. A lot of ideas for black. Just whatever you feel comfortable with. I like g6 just because it's pretty aggressive. All right. Now, sometimes higher rated players will play something like knight to g4, which is a little bit annoying. You can make it complicated if they do play knight to g4 by playing bishop to b5, and then if he takes, you can actually take with the knight here. Uh, but you just got to be careful. All right, so yeah, this can go pretty complicated. So I'll just play f3 just to prevent that. All right, so really the opening is the time where we're just developing pieces and trying to create a pawn structure that's not too weak. As you can see in that last game, the opponent just completely ignored his pawn structure. That's the problem with making one move threats. All right, so options here, I could maintain some flexibility and just play h4 right away, which leaves me even a possibility to even castle kingside. But it's really aggressive to castle queenside, and it's good to play aggressively. Now, the main idea here for white is to play g4, normally h4 first, and just try to give a pawn rush, trade bishops, get rid of the defender of the dark squares, and then hopefully play bishop here, and then you kind of have a kingside attack, and you really control the center. So basically, a wing attack is always predicated by controlling the center. If you don't control the center, then even if your attack seems like it's going well, normally it's going to fall apart. And you can follow that by a heuristic, by a rule, or you can learn that the hard way, like I did. So, okay, so the center is pretty equal. So I am going to start with h4, just pushing. All right. Now there's multiple moves I can make here. I could bring the knight back. Not so good. We want to keep it in the center. I could bring the king over. Uh, or I could just play g4. Let's see what g4 does. You just want to make sure normally there will be some kind of tactics. Like he could play b5, but it doesn't necessarily work right away. All right. It's not a bad move either. All right, so I'm just going to keep. The good thing about this move too is that it prevents bishop to c4 for black. But the problem is that my pawn storm uh, tactically might be pretty quick, so you just have to be careful about that. Let's see here. Yeah, I love these kind of positions. You can always learn a lot from them. All right, so I'm going to take that. All right, let's check there. That's good. He does have this knight f6 defender, but I can complicate this in a lot of ways. Um, there's things like here. Let's see. Now, this requires some calculation. I could also play g5. All right, so I do like here. That's quite powerful because if he takes, then I could take check. I mean, there's a lot of moves that probably could work in this position. E5 doesn't necessarily work because the queen could take. His main threat is something like check, or sorry, rook takes. Uh, he gets some. He could win a pawn and start some attack, but he's not as active as I am. So let's see here. I think I'm going to go for this. It just seems to make the most sense. Removing a defender, a very simple idea. Yeah, basically he can take, but the threat is takes here, takes, check, and then yeah, I don't really see a way he can defend this pawn. And his king's going to be very exposed. Yeah, so just a couple moves back, it looks like he should have played. I think. I mean, it's a fine judgment, but you really should play something like h5 because you are moving a pawn in front of your king, but sometimes you have to do that to stop the assault, yeah, especially in the Sicilian Dragon. Kind of a very thematic thing. All right, so let's calculate his moves. Takes here, take a check. All right, I think this actually results in mate though. Yeah, I think this is gonna be mate because I have check and then the rook comes in and then the knight's covering here, so it's not just winning a rook. Yeah. Yeah, so that's checkmate. All right, so let's look at this game real quick. So you played really well. Um, you played really well, except you just didn't have the judgment yet to stop this pawn assault. Let's look at the analysis board to see how accurate. Actually, it looks like I have a game. Okay, so actually, let's pull up this game that I played from 4 months ago. This was actually a bullet game. All right, so let's see what happened in this game. It's the same position. Okay, so he played a little more accurately, although he still had the same idea. All right, so he played the bishop in, got his rooks in, took. Yeah, okay. So he's starting to attack a little quicker than in the other game, and I don't have the way to. All right, so actually this is pretty thematic too. Sacking. Right, so I just ignore that in this game. All right, see, this is the problem in the Sicilian Dragon is that white. Okay, so white's attack is a little faster if you don't stop that pawn assault. So black does have a strong queenside attack, but it's not as powerful as white's. So black needs to spend some time to stop that pawn assault. All right, so that just ended up being a checkmate there. That was a bullet. That was a bullet game, so it was a little bit sloppy, but let me go back to the other game here. Yeah, I mean these positions are not easy. Where did it go? Here we are. Otherwise, you played a really good game. I mean, you're playing almost what 2200s are playing, and it's not easy to judge those kind of positions. Yeah, well, that's why that's why you should play the dragon though. If something's too tactical, that's really how you get your judgment better. Because I was playing it. I would say the dragon is one of the reasons I got to 1500 within like 6 months. USCF, not FIDE, but it's all pretty close. But basically, I just played the dragon and the martial attack in the Roy Lopez if I could. Okay, so you do. It seems you know this line a little bit, or you, at least you know some of the standard moves. Um, let's see. Let's see what the computer says. All right, so it's actually judging. All right, so the knight back is actually the strongest move it's saying, which I was looking at, but I like g4. Still not bad. All right, so you made the computer's move, bringing the knight in, and the rook move. Oh, that's interesting. So actually, this is a bit of a blunder that I made here. So it looks like you should have taken. Yeah, this basically gives me a tempo. All right, so let's see here. Yeah, this gives me a tempo because I can take, and then you're responding to my threats. But let's see why the bishop here. So you take, I take, obviously. Ah, so you can get the rook sacrifice in. So that's a very thematic thing. I'm trying to make these moves here. This mouse is all wacky. All right, take, queen takes, rook takes. So you can't actually take here, it looks like. Not yet. All right, so this is how you learn from these tactical positions. That's not so easy, though, especially in a blitz or a bullet game. But in a long game, you might win that. Yeah, that would be pretty bad. Okay, so let's go back. Takes. Yeah, so you're pretty lost at this point. Let's see that critical position though. So after I took, yeah, so actually the knight is the strongest there. But you want to look at other moves that you analyze. Let's say here. So that still wins as well. Even here, it looks like it wins. Yeah, so if you look at a move and you didn't play it, it's still good to look. That's why these tactical positions are so educational. I thought you were going to take instead of taking with the queen. Okay, never mind. That's still checkmate in 3, which I didn't calculate out. Oh yeah, because the queen's covering f6. All right, so good game. I would say play tactical openings. Your opening knowledge is good. Maybe it's just tactics. But again, solving puzzles would not necessarily make you play that situation better. I would say the analysis skills of seeing where you felt comfortable in a position and where you didn't would be the most educational thing. All right, Rage Against the Machine. Hello. All right. Thanks for attending the stream. This is a little longer than I wanted to go. I'm trying to keep the videos shorter so people watch them. They're not having to watch a 30 or 40-minute video. But I felt this turned out pretty well, especially with the games that I played. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna try to do a stream every day if I can, but Monday, Wednesday, Friday at the minimum. And I'll see you in the future. Next time, I'm gonna try to do I would say 1400 to 1600, or maybe a little higher. Thanks for the game, Dylan, and hope that helps. I'll see you in the future. Bye.